What's up, guys? This is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about this sentence or this saying, live a life on your terms. I've been saying this for so long in a way of, okay, it's time to start living your life on your terms. And I've been saying this to myself, every time I step up my game and, being more and more the authentic version that I can be and, believing in my self-worth so much more, because I know in the end it's me who has to claim it. It's not like that something happens and then I say, oh, okay, now I'm worthy. Like, I know it's all about, claiming some energy for you and then doing all the inspired action in order to get there, right? To do massive action or inspired action, however you want to call it. When it comes to taking action, that's your masculine energy. It's about stepping forward. A lot of people say that's like, the right side of your body. It's connected to the left side of your brain. All of that is like your masculine energy when it comes to moving forward, in taking steps, in really showing up in a world of, really making a change. It's an assertive energy. It's very straightforward. And on the other hand, you have the feminine energy, which is all about being and enjoying life as is, and to know that you're worthy just by breathing and existing. And in the end, when you're like healthy and you feel like you're flowing in abundance, it's a combination of both, right? And so what I do, for example, with my clients is we have both of those aspects in our sessions. So we always talk about plans and executing and having something measurable that we can work towards, and like that happened towards, what happened there, that we have we have a plan that we follow. But through that, every time, you step up your game and you realize, okay, I'm not just talking about it, I'm actually doing steps that I want to do. For example, let's say you would start writing a book that you've talked about and, like thought about, but never really done. Sometimes not even like really talked about, not having done any like step that will make that happen. So the moment you actually step up and you do those steps, things will come up that have been stopping you, that have been making you feel bad about taking those steps. And they show up specifically once you start taking those steps. And, those are all like those limiting beliefs that, have been there. And the more you are able to then see them, feel them, work through them, they're like gone. And it's like you just take those steps as like a normal way of being, like getting up in the morning out of bed. Like if this is like a normal thing for you, then that's something, because that is not a block for you. There are people who do not have the energy to get out of bed, who feel like completely victim to their circumstances, even in that way that they don't have the strength or the capacity or the wish to get out of bed. So if you are able to get out of bed, then there's a limiting belief that's, that you don't have to deal with. Maybe you never had to deal with that, hopefully, but it's like that person that still has that problem has that limiting belief that's keeping their world small like this, right? But the truth is this, right? In the end, like your perfect being, the being that doesn't have any of those limiting beliefs, that is like really like full of joy and knows that you're completely worthy of everything you want, that person, that version of you knows very well that this is a choice. That staying in bed when you have those limiting beliefs is a choice, as well it is to like have a choice of saying, I'm worthy of having, all the abundance in the world, everything I want, and so on. But it just doesn't feel like this. When you're in the situation that you don't have the motivation to get out of bed, the last thing you feel is that you have a choice, right? It doesn't feel like this because you're not aware of all of those things. But from this higher perspective of, knowing that you are, abundant and worthy, no matter if you're that version of yourself that can't get out of bed, or that version that shows up and, uses their masculine energy and uses their feminine energy, and there's like this wonderful thing happening. Like that version, that highest version, knows that in both situations, you've always been worthy, and that this is a choice you're making. And that those limiting beliefs that have happened because of childhood trauma and all of that are keeping you there. but that it's a choice, you know, that we stay there. Because only when we realize that it's a choice, we can actually say, what is a step I can take in order to push myself out of my comfort zone enough so those limiting beliefs, you know, are coming up so I can actually work through them. Because now you're an adult, now you know that, you know, it has nothing to do with you when, you know, one of your parents was mean to you at some point, right? That it had nothing to do with your unworthiness. And so that's why, you know, making a full circle now, I wanted to talk to you about this thing that we say, we're living life on our terms, because the version of you that lives in full abundance is, of course, living their life on their terms. But the person who decides that they're gonna stay in their limiting beliefs and stays in bed and doesn't do anything about that, that person is also living a life on their terms. We're like these powerful creators and creating a life that is limiting ourselves, full of suffering, full of, you know, just having to sacrifice. That's just as easily or hard to create as the other thing. What is the hardest thing about this is actually, you know, making the change, switching it up, understanding what like those steps are in order to get up. But in order to do that, we have to first change our mindset into understanding that both of those things are choices. So for example, I've had this in my, you know, in my family and stuff like that. For example, you know, you want to find a partner and you feel like, you know, but nobody, you know, likes me, and, you know, I don't know, I'm just waiting, you know, waiting. When you're waiting, you're kind of saying it's not in my control, it's not my choice. Right? And then, you know, you look at the people, and I've been like this as well. And like, you know, 8 years ago, like I knew how much that was me because I was staying home. I wasn't really being social. I wasn't doing online dating or asking friends to like, you know, introduce me to other people. I didn't want to be the one who's responsible for that step in their life. So I was making the choice that having a healthy and happy relationship or meeting anybody altogether is out of my control. I made that choice, maybe due to limiting beliefs, but I made that choice. And the moment I realized, well, it is my choice. Nothing's gonna happen when I wait. The moment I wait and say I wait, it's outside of me and it can't be me. So what can I do today in order to like become a person for whom this is easier and easier? And for example, it is that you say, okay, I want to start talking to a person once a week. I know how uncomfortable it is, but I just want to push myself in order to overcome those limiting beliefs and take that massive action that will make that happen, right? And so the more and more you do that, the more you realize, yes, it's been a choice. Because I know how I felt when I was, you know, 25 and I thought, oh, okay, there's just nobody out there for me. And I know now how different it was and that I had a choice back then. I just didn't realize it because I didn't put that, you know, that power into my own hands when it's been there all the time. You know, now from a state of more abundance, I see it and I know that I had a choice. I just didn't see it back then and I didn't know that I could take it. But that's the way I approach life right now. I know that I'm living life on my terms, even when it comes to all of those things I'm still limiting myself at. You know, there's always a way for you to experience even more joy, to experience more like, you know, life enjoyment and being happy with my life experience and stepping up and, you know, and like, you know, taking on challenges that will just make me happy, you know. I do that, but I know that it's all my choice. There's a choice of the amount of money I earn right now. And like, you know, there's a choice why I don't choose to make 1 million a year. You know, that's a choice I'm making. I know I'm not aware of what is keeping me from that, but I know that it's a choice I'm making. And the moment you realize that all of this is your choice, only then you can step out of it. You know, of course, there are things that are happening that we have no control over, but you know, you can always be in control of the things that'll help you to move towards one spot. You know, like, of course, if somebody in your family is sick, you know, that's not something you chose. That's like really pain that's happening in your family and within you. But for example, something like, you know, I don't meet anybody, and then you're like, you know, asking yourself, well, what kind of like people have I been choosing to meet, or have I actually done the steps? Or when you feel like, okay, I can't find a job, how often have you actually, first off, how many applications have you sent out? How many times have you actually worked on yourself and looked deeper into it and understood what those limiting beliefs are? Because you can think of, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do that, but it won't really solve the problem and you won't know the solution. But once you realize, okay, I need to go within, I need to find out why I've been, keeping myself from this. So for example, if you feel like, I don't meet anybody and you're staying in this bubble of not meeting people, it's probably because there is a fear of rejection, or there's a fear of abandonment, or there's a fear of, losing somebody. And once you really take that in and realize that, how much more of this pain can I deal with right now in order to overcome this and take a step, and then lose the fear slowly and gradually. And this is not just, about relationships, about so much more. It's all about this inner alignment, about removing those negative, limiting beliefs, so we can step up our life more and more in a way that we love it. But all of it is creating a life on our terms. Even the person who doesn't have the motivation to get out of bed, that person is living life on their terms. And their terms are, I'm staying in this small world, I'm suffering, I don't know how to get out. We can get help if you can just, I have so many people who say I don't like my life, I don't do this, but do you actually take the steps? Do you watch videos that'll help you to address those things? Are you meditating? Are you actually doing something every week a little bit to get yourself out of this, this thing that's keeping you small? Sometimes it takes bigger risk, for me, how I just quit my job without having, all the enough income coming in at that point for me to say, I'm gonna trust in this. And then I stepped up my game, and now I can live this life and, create retreats and, just upgrade my coachings and all of that. So it's all about the masculine and the feminine energy of taking the inspired steps, of taking the massive actions in order to really try out things and risk things that will help you to actually adapt and be at a higher vibration and higher frequency, and at the same time really to look into the things that are keeping you from doing these things already. So if you want to say, I want to have a great relationship, for example, or I want to start writing my book, make a plan, make measurable steps that you can take. And if something is keeping you, ask yourself, what is keeping me from this? And try to work through it. You can do it, of course. If you want to go deeper into this, you can get the course, the Epic Life Masterclass. You can work with me. I'm all about, the retreat is online now. So that's an awesome opportunity to overcome limiting beliefs like this. There's so many ways. If I'm not the one who can guide you through this, just keep looking, because there's always something that will come up that will show you how to do it. You know how they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So make it a point. You deserve an epic life, so claim it. You already are living life on your terms. I wish you a wonderful day, my friends, and I talk to you next time.